show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
Welcome back, my ninjas. Again, I've got Sean Crane in the booth with me this morning. Good morning, Sean. Well, it's actually afternoon now out here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's noon, bro. It's noon.
Yeah.
We've been at it.
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
You too. You know, I talk to a lot of people on the East Coast, and it's like they're always ahead, right? By the time we get into our stuff, they're already a couple hours in. So we got to put in the work and make sure we catch up each day.
Tell me about it, man. I just moved from the East Coast, West Coast of Florida, but the East Coast. And now I'm on your time out here, and I feel like I'm behind sometimes.
Yeah, but we make up for it, right? It's just about compounding these days. I think that's something a lot of people overlook, whether it's your fitness journey, building a business. It's like these days add up over time. Just make sure that they're adding up in your favor, right? Like the compounding effect is so real. And that's what I like. I want to maximize each day, Gene. You know, I want to make sure that I'm pouring into my family and I'm present with my kids and my wife. I want to maximize my impact on clients and on social media. And I just learned that if you have the right habits in place, right, and this is something we talk about in Unstoppable 365, the work I do with you and other men, it's having those systems in your personal life, just like you do in business. And they amount to success over time.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the right habits. And I definitely want to get into your history as well. So maybe give us the 30,000 foot view of your story, and then let's jump into what those habits are that set you off for the right kind of day.
Yeah, well, growing up, I did not have the right habits. I didn't have goals. I didn't have good mentors or leaders around me. And I was just drifting in life. You know, early on, my parents were battling addiction. And I saw a lot of crazy stuff at home and ultimately lost them both at 14. My dad went to state prison. My mom fell full blown into her addiction and stopped coming home and pretty much abandoned me and my siblings. And so at 14, my whole world was turned upside down, man. And I didn't know how to cope with it at that time. I realized that when I would smoke or drink or take a pill, I could numb out that pain. And that turned into an addiction. So from 14 to 24, I didn't do anything positive with my life. I was just getting by. And I'm lucky that I'm alive, to be honest. A lot of my friends growing up accidentally overdosed. I had family members overdose. And a lot of people in my world at that time were plagued by addiction and their demons. And so ultimately, that lifestyle led me to prison. At 23, I was accused of a crime that I didn't commit. But my lifestyle back then, I was not doing the right stuff, you know. And there definitely, whether you want to call it like the universe or karma or whatever, if you're consistently, you know, not doing the right thing, eventually it catches up to you. And so for me, going to prison, I was innocent of the crime I was accused of. I was accused of attempted murder stemming from a fight at a party that turned into an assault with weapons. And one of the guys almost died. He was on life support. He was in a coma for a couple of weeks. Like, they did not think he was going to live. And that was the person I was accused of assaulting. And so at 23, man, I'm sitting in that jail cell thinking that I could be in there for 30 years or the rest of my life. And it was a defining moment for me.
Wow.
So at that point, yeah, I mean, at that point, I had a decision to make. It was either, it didn't really feel like a decision. I chose that I was in survival mode, you know, and I wanted to persevere. You know, I didn't want that to be the end of my life. Because that's what happened. I had this really amazing experience and opportunity to reflect on my life as if it was over. A lot of people go to events and write down goals and they journal in the morning. They talk about what they want to do and who they want to be. But deep down in their brain, in the back of their mind, they think they have more time, right? Like we think that next month we're going to be here. And if we put something off this week or next week, we're going to eventually get to it. And most people, they don't realize they're training themselves to live that way. So they're constantly putting stuff off till tomorrow. And they don't realize not only are they not achieving their goals, but they're programming themselves to be someone who procrastinates, who lives with less urgency, who's not really maximizing their life, man. And for me, I'm very aware that every little decision we make and action we take is programming us into the type of person we operate as. And that's why the little things are so important and the consistency is so important, because what is the message you're sending back to yourself through that action, through that thought, through that behavior? But so for me, man, like the most life-changing thing that happened to me was sitting in my jail cell 24/7, like never leaving this 6x8 cell, and having nothing but time to think and reflect and really get honest with myself about how I live my life. It was heartbreaking because as a kid, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I loved life. I believed in myself, and I lost that version of myself in the midst of my addiction, that turmoil that I was going through. And when I sat in that cell, I felt sad, man. I let that kid down, that boy that had so many dreams. And I had to feel the pain of regret. I had to sit in it. And it did something internally and psychologically that changed my life forever.
Wow. Baby, Brittany, did you see us like glitching there for a second? I just want to make sure that it's not our connection over here. You said something that made me think of a recent encounter that I had with the Macklin twins. Are you familiar with the Macklin twins?
Yeah. Ian and Evan. Yep.
They came out to a company that I was working at, and they were talking about we're all going to get the bill of life eventually, right? All of our habits add up, and eventually that bill comes. And for some of us, it's going to come a lot sooner than for others because of our habits, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's incremental until it's not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's why people don't take their health seriously. Like they're a little overweight, but big deal, there's not enough pain or enough motivating factors there to get them to change, but if you go to the doctor, they said, hey, Gene, you're at risk for a heart attack. You could die any day. You have to drastically change your diet. You have to lose 20 pounds of body fat. Like you would obsess over it and do whatever it takes. So I think for humans in general, we're motivated by two things: to experience pleasure and to avoid pain. For me, I realized early on, like avoiding pain, once I felt the pain at the extent that I did, regret, depression, suicidal thoughts, like your life's over, right? I was willing to do anything to change that feeling inside of me. I was willing to do whatever it took to change myself to ensure that I never got to that place again. So it was absolute life or death for me. And I've been able to apply that same mentality towards all my goals ever since. Like even today, right? If I have big goals and dreams, I'm fabricating that same emotional state that I was in when I was in prison to get the most out of me to go after those goals. Because it's easy to become complacent. Like, Gene, the life I'm living today. What?
Super easy.
I mean, the life I'm living today is the life I once prayed for. I got my beautiful wife, my 4 children. We live in a beautiful home. They're all going to great schools. They're thriving. I got my health, my business. I've been able to achieve a lot of professional goals that I set out. And so for me, it's continuing to evolve myself and my thinking, think bigger, more impact. How many more people can I help? What is that highlight reel of life that I want to look back on my deathbed, right? Like that's what I'm always thinking about, that highlight reel of adventures with my family, traveling, unforgettable moments, like facing all the fears and really finding out who I can become on this journey. If I make these days count, think and dream big and have the audacity, the willingness to go after them.
Guys, if you're watching this live, will you please put live down in the comments? And if you're watching it on a replay, please put replay down in the comments. It's about the only thing that we ask for, guys, is just for you to comment so that it helps the algorithm push this out to more people so we can help more people. So let's get to what it is that how did you transition into what you're doing now with the fitness coaching?
Yeah, so I remember I got out of prison in 2017, right at the tail end of 2017. And I knew I wanted to come home, and I love fitness. I wanted to help people. In prison, I went through a huge transformation. I got super disciplined with my routines. I got really fit. I started helping other guys in there because they were drawn to like my routines and what I was doing. And I studied a lot. I read a lot of books on psychology, human and behavior science, business. So I wanted to come home and do coaching and make an impact on people. That was my goal. And when I got out, I was staying in a trailer on my aunt and uncle's property for 2 months. And I was doing tree work with my uncle. He owns a tree service business. And that was the job that I had before prison. Every day going to that job, I felt tortured. I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Even one day, right? Most people are like,
Right.
Sean, get your feet back on the ground, get some money. It's okay. But I was making up for lost time, man. And I couldn't continue to go down that path. And so I remember I reached out to an old friend who was doing personal training in Santa Barbara, California. And he said he was looking for other trainers to build a team. And, you know, he was going to give me clients. I had to get certified, but he was going to basically help me out. And so I got certified in like literally a couple of weeks. Usually it takes 3 to 6 months. And then I was ready to go. You know?
All in the books.
Oh, yeah. Every day I would just go into my aunt and uncle's computer room, their office, and just study, take all the tests. But I had been reading that literature on nutrition, physiology, like exercise for years in prison. I got all those books sent in, so I was ready. And then in Santa Barbara at that time, we had these crazy wildfires break out, and it literally was like burning down the mountains and these, you know, towns all over. And we got rainstorms that came through after the fires and caused horrific mudslides and shut down the US 101 North. So I couldn't even get back into Santa Barbara. I was landlocked in this tiny little town where my aunt and uncle lived. And I remember just thinking, man, I got to make a move. I can't keep living in this trailer. I got to make something happen. And so one of my friends from childhood, I knew that he flew a little single engine Cessna plane. And I just randomly called him up. And I was like, hey, man, you flying your plane? Like, what do you got going on? These fires and mudslides are crazy. And he told me he was shuttling people back and forth, people that worked in Santa Barbara, executives, you know, people that worked in the hotels and stuff. And so he offered to let me meet him at the airport and fly over the mudslide into Santa Barbara. So I went and met him and literally packed up all my stuff, my clothes, all my possessions. I had like $1,500 to my name. And as we're flying into Santa Barbara, he looked over at me and he's like, so what's your plan, man? What are you going to do? Where are you staying? I was like, dude, I don't have a plan. I'm just going to get this job, right, as a personal trainer, and I'm going to figure it out. And he like started laughing. He's like, you're freaking crazy. You don't have a place to stay or a car or anything. I was like, no, I'm going for it. And he told me that his dad typically rented out rooms to college students in town. And he's like, we'll hit him up. Maybe he'll have a room for rent for you. And so we got to Santa Barbara, went to the gym, met the owner. I told him my backstory and I was just honest with him. And he knew that I wanted to help people and he could see the look in my eyes, right? Like I was motivated. And he said, you're good to work here, man. Like you're cool. Like we support you. And then we went to my friend's dad's house. I gave him all my money for my rent. Now I had a room and a place to stay. And then I just needed a car. And I remember going to my Uncle Mark's junkyard, his mechanic's junkyard in town. And he had all these beat up cars that he would fix up and sell. And he's like, that one's $3,000. This one's, $2,200. This one's $6,000. I'm like, Jim, I have no money. Like I just gave my landlord all my money for rent. And he's like, well, let's go check out this Honda Civic I got. And it was smashed in. The whole back was smashed in. You couldn't even open the trunk. It was dirty. It was just a POS. He's like, I'll let you drive this around for a couple weeks or a month until you make some money. And then we can talk about purchasing a vehicle. Right. And so I did, man. I took that Honda Civic to the gym the next morning. And I was so embarrassed. I parked it around the gym, around the corner. Right. But within 24 hours, I had a job in the industry that I wanted to be in. I had a place to stay and I had a vehicle for transportation. And that's how I got my start as, in the fitness industry, and eventually became an entrepreneur and business owner from that path.
God dang, man. And now I watch you flying around the country, going to conferences, getting on stages and sharing your message, man. It's pretty awesome. How did that start?
I mean, it was all part of the plan, Gene. Like we get what we expect and what we really have to have in life. I wanted this life so bad. After I was working in that gym for 6 months, I couldn't take it anymore. I'm not an employee. I wanted to create my own business. So I left the gym and started my own fitness company in Santa Barbara for personal training. And I started getting clients all over the town, making more money, helping more people. And then, that's when me and my wife, Jessica, were getting together. We started a family. I got these little babies to take care of now. And then COVID-19, is that what it was called? COVID-19? I can't even remember. COVID shut all the gyms down, and I lost all my client revenue overnight. Like I was sitting in my wife's rocking chair for like when you're pregnant, she has this little glider, they call it, at 4 a.m, just looking at my bank account in the app. And I was just stressed. We had, $2,000 to our name, and I had nothing coming in. And man, talk about like being in the grips of fear and the unknown. Prison was hard, but that was a different type of hard. Now I had my family to provide for, and it was different. And I almost called my Uncle Mark back and said, hey, can I come do tree work for a little bit to figure things out and make some money?
Right.
And just something inside of me, man, wouldn't let me do that. I couldn't go backwards, And I remember in that moment, just making a decision to take my business online and start coaching people online through mindset, through habit formation, health and fitness, leadership, all the things that I learned in prison, I knew would be valuable for men out here. Sobriety, right? And so I started going on social media and Facebook every day, doing live videos, sharing my story, what I learned when I was in prison, how it changed my life, and it got people's attention. And I think during COVID, a lot of people were going through an unknown for themselves, and they were locked down. And, we saw the statistics, domestic violence, relapse, all these mental health disorders were through the roof. And so for the next couple of years, I started coaching men directly. And making an impact and getting results and changing people's lives. And then just by posting content in Facebook, I started building relationships with people who were going to events, or knew people who hosted events or hosted events themselves, and just connected with a lot of individuals in the blue collar space of all places, right? And really building sound relationships with those individuals. And I've always been one to be vocal about my goals. I tell people all the time, like, call your shot, man. What are you scared of? Do the work on yourself, become valuable, and then let people know in the world what you want to achieve. And so I would talk about it on social media. I'd text people. I'd say, give me a chance, man. Put me on that stage. I promise you I'll make an impact and provide value. And then sure enough, I started getting opportunities to speak at Tommy Mello's event, Lance Bachman, Victor Rancour, and just all these events started lining up for me.
So let's talk about the online program, Unstoppable 365. And then I want to also talk about the peptides and stuff that you're doing now. But tell us about that program. What does it entail? What does it look like? Who's it for?
Yeah,
it's not for anybody.
It's for men who know that they're made for more. Men who, their mindset, right, their daily routines, like when they look in the mirror, they know that they're living as a lesser version of themselves. They don't have the right habits. They're not showing up consistently. And so what we do is we focus on helping them to develop the right mindset and the right habits through physical training, through discipline with nutrition, through having their days scheduled and mapped out ahead of time so that they are going to be intentional. And this carries over in everything that they do, how they parent their children, how they show up for their wives, definitely how they run their business and lead their teams. And so I'd say 90% of our clients are business owners. And we give them structured workout nutrition programs on my app. We do calls every week with the community for support and accountability. And we're really able to apply systems in their personal life and like those KPIs that we could track through the app, just like they would when they operate a business. So we have metrics, we have accountability, we have support so that we can ensure they're going to meet their goals over time.
Mm-hmm. So, and then you've also got medical people on staff, right?
Yeah. So within the last 2 years, obviously people are getting more intrigued by peptides, blood work, hormonal replacement therapy. About 2 years ago was the first time I did it, like a really comprehensive blood test, and it provided so much insight around my own biomarkers. I learned tons about myself. Like I'm pretty allergic to gluten, right? Wheat specifically. So I modified that in my diet. I had all these biomarkers that weren't where I wanted them to be. And I thought I was so healthy, Gene. I'm running marathons. I'm fit. I'm doing all this stuff. And so had I not done that test, I wouldn't have been able to improve my health or my wife's health. And I realized, man, this is so valuable because I can get you fit. I can get you shredded. I could work on your mindset with you. But when we have irrefutable data around your health, that's life-changing. That's preventative, and it's life-changing into the future if you can make the necessary adjustments and corrections. So what we do now with our clients when they sign up with us is they still get the fitness and nutrition program to follow, but we do a blood test right out of the gate so we can see all their biomarkers. Then they meet with our team of professionals, right? Like when clients work with us, they get a team of professional doctors and medical staff that can guide them to optimizing their health. And something really cool we just came out with, our new medical site. It has like a dashboard with all your KPIs, just like Service Titan or these other softwares people use for business. And it shows you all your metrics, right? All your biomarkers. And then from there, you can go and order peptides if you need them, hormonal replacement therapy, NAD or methylene blue, which are longevity protocols. And then every 90 days, roughly, we'll do another blood test to make sure things are progressing in the right direction.
So I want to talk about the gluten thing, but you keep saying biomarkers. What if somebody doesn't know what a biomarker is? Help us out.
Yeah, that's a great question. Basically, when you do a blood test, it's going to show you how well your cells are absorbing certain nutrients, vitamin C, vitamin D, B12, all these things. It's going to show you your levels in your cells. So if you're deficient in nutrients, that's going to affect everything, your energy, your mental acuity. You might get brain fog throughout the day, just every aspect of your health. So we look at that. We look at your hormone levels too. For a man, is your testosterone where it needs to be optimized, or is it in the tanks? Most guys, when we test them, their testosterone is like 200, which is so low. You should be between 800 and 1200 for optimal health, but most guys are around 200. And that's going to affect every aspect of your life. It's going to affect your mental health and like your morale. It's going to affect your focus. It's going to affect your energy, your libido, your sleep, your strength, like your ability to lose fat, every aspect of life. So we check all these different health indicators. Those are your biomarkers. From there, we can see where people's scores are low, and then what is the process or remedy to improve those scores. If you go to a traditional doctor, they do this at a very surface level. They check about 20 of your biomarkers, where our tests are checking hundreds. And then they just give you a pill for your blood pressure, or a pill for your anxiety, or a pill. And all that does is mask the symptoms. They address symptoms, but what we're able to do is find the root cause of people's health ailments and remedy the root cause so they get better. They actually improve over time instead of being dependent on some pill.
So what do you say to the guy out there that's 40, 45 years old and thinks that he's totally fine as far as testosterone is concerned because he's got a really healthy libido?
I mean, that's just one metric. That's just like what I learned about testosterone and hormones in particular is they're the gatekeepers for your cells. So if your hormones aren't optimized, your cells can never be optimized. And the reason people die, or the reason people end up getting sick or develop certain ailments, is at the cellular level. There's something taking place where there's a deficiency, there's something going on. And so hormones are so much more than just libido or building muscle. It's, the overall quality of your life and longevity. And it's one of the leading indicators for mental acuity as we get older. So like dementia, cognitive decline, a lot of that is correlated to hormone imbalances and low testosterone in men.
Yeah, have you seen that new show out yet, or movie called The Plastic Detox?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's pretty wild. I'd check it out. I'm
going to check it out. Plastics are one of the main reasons why men have low testosterone, right?
Really?
Like everything we touch and do is made of plastic.
Yeah, they're saying that they're finding that Alzheimer's is linked to plastic in the brain, which is kind of wild. And it turns out, guys, we've got a lot of this stuff inside of our lower region, as it turns out.
They say every man now in modern times has microplastics in their testicles. Like that's crazy. How is that even possible? And just think about it. Like our shirts have plastic in them, like, books, like everything around you. And then if you're microwaving plastic or drinking out of plastic cups, so it's almost unavoidable. I mean, a lot of the toxins in our environment that are plaguing our health, they're almost unavoidable. I mean, you can do everything you can, but I just saw a news article recently that fruits and vegetables in the grocery store, up to 70% have forever pesticides.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. Like, so meaning once you consume them, they're inside your body and there's nothing they can do to get those out of the fruits and vegetables because it's in the soil, it's in the drinking water, and that's just, so, you have pesticides, then you have the plastics. Now you're concerned about the air you breathe or the water you drink and shower with. And you can only do so much, right? Like put filtration systems in your house with your water. Don't heat up plastic Tupperware. Try to get
don't use a microwave.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Try to buy farm raised cattle, right? That's not pumped full of a bunch of antibiotics and stuff.
Mhm.
So just being mindful of it, I think that's really important.
Hey guys, just a reminder, you're listening to the Blackbelt Sales Podcast. If you're listening live, please just put live down in the comments. And if you're watching on a replay, put replay for us. So Sean, we're talking about biomarkers, testosterone. I want to rewind a little bit. You found out you were allergic to gluten. If somebody's not been tested, how does that show up in your life that you're allergic to gluten?
Yeah, so for me specifically, it was wheat. I have, I'm not very tolerant of wheat. And so it creates a lot of inflammation, So if you're someone that has a lot of aches and pains in your joints or brain fog, or you feel lethargic a lot, you could have leaky gut. I mean, based on what I've seen with the clients we've tested and doctors that I've talked with, upwards of 90% of people, most of them have like a bad reaction to gluten in general. So if you're listening to this, I'd recommend give it a 30-day hiatus. Like if you can cut out all gluten, which is flour, tortillas, breads and stuff like that for 30 days, see what changes you notice in your energy, your sleep, your body. It could be a good indicator that you're like me and you're gluten intolerant. And then doing a deeper dive with the blood work and seeing, on that spectrum of severe to non-severe where you are, because it is a spectrum. But you can remedy the symptoms at hand, right? Like leaky gut's really important. That's what happens when you have gluten intolerance or wheat intolerance like I do. And it damages your gut lining and your stomach, basically, where your food is digested. So it's going to create systemic inflammation because a bunch of toxins are entering beyond that barrier that's supposed to be protected. And that's one of the biggest things that we focus on early on with clients. People that are bloated, have energy crashes, brain fog, a lot of it stems from their gut health.
I got to get my blood work done, dog.
I know, I've been telling you, man. It's one of the most eye-opening things you'll ever do in your life. And honestly, it'll change the way that you live now and going forward. So it is preventative. Like a lot of people wait till they have some severe health issues to go to the doctor. But if you can catch things early on by doing blood work and then, remedy these little issues before they become super problematic, that's one of the best and most important reasons to do blood work. The other is you could really optimize your health. And as you get older, feel amazing. Like you could feel really good as you get older because you're doing all the right stuff your body needs based on that data.
Sean, you have got an event coming up that I want to talk about here in a minute. But before we do that, how does somebody reach you to get a consultation or to have a conversation with you about the biomarkers and getting their blood tested and potentially even having somebody like you or one of your coaches be their coach, kind of like you're doing for me right now? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, our website's www.unstoppable365.com. You can go on there and check out some of the different programs and stuff that we're doing. You can also reach out to me if you have questions. Reach out to me directly on Facebook, Sean Michael Crane, Sean spelled SEAN, or Instagram, Sean_Crane_official. I answer my DMs. If you have questions, you can go ahead and reach out to me directly.
The website is right on the screen for you guys. Again, if you're listening through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, it's unstoppable365.com, unstoppable365.com. And then the blood test, I saw there's looked like two different kinds of blood tests when I logged into the dashboard. There's one that was like a couple $100 and then one that was just a couple $100 more than that. What's the difference between those two?
Yeah, so we have blood tests where you can get a phlebotomist to come to your house or your business, or you can go in and have your blood drawn from them. Those tests are going to measure more biomarkers. They're going to draw more blood from you. We have these new ones that we've been testing. I just did it the other day. It's self-administered. So it comes to your house in a kit, read the instructions, you apply it to your shoulder, click the button, and it's going to draw out, like, I don't know, half an inch of blood, maybe a little more. I don't know the exact amount, but enough to do a test. And so after 5 minutes, you take it off your shoulder, drop it in the package, and you just mail it out that same day, and you get results within 48 hours. So those are really cool. You do those every 90 days, and then once or twice a year, you do the deeper dive test that's really measuring more biomarkers. But it's a great way to continuously monitor your health.
So start out with the bigger, better one.
I would always suggest that. Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Let's talk about your upcoming event. You've got a mastermind going on in California here soon, in about 30 days or so, isn't it?
Yeah, July 31st through the weekend to August 2nd. It's going to be in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah, I love hosting the smaller, more intimate events. We'll have 10 to 12 guys out for the weekend, focused on building mental strength, physical strength, leadership potential. It's incredible when you get people out of their normal routines, right? And you get them into a different environment with like-minded people who are driven, and you start talking about your goals, you start talking about your hang-ups and things that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. And it's a massive catalyst for renewed thinking, rejuvenation, a resurgence of that inspiration that some guys feel is dwindling. And so it's a couple things. When you get into like a novel experience out of your normal routine, that right there just gets you feeling different, right? Your interest is peaked, your awareness is peaked. And a lot of guys, when they come out, they don't realize that they've just kind of been on autopilot. And so my job is to create that spark from a spiritual and emotional, a psychological standpoint. But then I want them to go back home with clarity. Like, what is that blueprint that you need to execute, that life by design, when you go back home to ensure that certain areas of your life are all elevating equally? Because a lot of the guys that come out, they're running businesses and they're so consumed by the business. They know that they're neglecting family time. They know that they're not present. They know that they're not prioritizing their health. And so when I bring them out, we do a self-assessment to get really clear on what would it look like to improve in all these areas of life so that you could have that life by design that you want. And so my goal is to hold them accountable and help them to have a breakthrough so they have clarity, and then provide a detailed roadmap to help them to improve in those areas when they go back home.
So the mastermind that's coming up, it's not a huge room.
No, it's not a big conference. Typically we'll stay together at a house, or guys will fly out and get hotel rooms. And we'll do certain like events and activities together. Last one or two, the one I did last year, we went on a 3-hour hike one of the days up into the mountains, and you could see all of Santa Barbara. And the guys were pushed physically. Some of them wanted to quit. They were pushed mentally. They all completed it. And at the end of that hike, they were so, exalted. They were so proud of themselves. They're like, damn, that was hard, man. I feel good. Right. And then we go to the gym and we work out on one of the mornings. I took them to the sauna and the cold plunge. We did a bunch of sessions there. Then we do sessions where we're sitting down and we're writing out goals and discussing leadership strategies. And we go to nice dinners. So we spend a lot of time together. There's a lot of networking opportunities to talk amongst one another, but it's the different settings that we're in. Like, there's a saying that I really love, Gene. Adversity reveals a man to himself. If I want to know who you really are, I'm going to bring you out where I could see you in person. I could see your body language. I could look at you when you're talking and observe you. And I'm going to make your ass get in the cold plunge for 3 minutes. I'm going to take you to the gym and push you through a harder workout than you've ever done in your life. I'm going to ask you about your goals and your marriage and your relationship with your wife, and I'm going to observe you. And you can tell everything about an individual when you're in person. You're going through these important type of interactions, right? Like on a hike where you're hiking for 3 hours. Who wants to quit first? Whose negative self-talk starts emerging? Who starts acting like a little, you know what I mean? And so adversity reveals a man to himself. If you want to become an elite individual in this life, if you can master those types of settings and circumstances, you can do anything. And so my whole goal is to get guys out in person and help them to really see what that next level version of themselves is capable of.
I will tell you all that I did one of Sean's workouts a couple of weeks ago, and I went hard, like harder than I normally go, like significantly harder, especially on the calves. And the next 3 days, I could barely walk. I think it was the day after it was like 48 hours after is when it hurts the worst, right? And I got out of bed and I could hardly balance. And it took me probably 2 or 3 minutes to get to the bathroom. And I texted Sean, I'm like, dog, I ain't going to the gym today. He's like, why not? I was like, dude, my calves hurt worse than they've ever hurt in my entire life. He's like, that's a lame excuse. Get your ass in the cold plunge right now.
I mean, do some bicep girls, right? Do something. Because
right?
look at,
but I appreciated the motivation, right? Sometimes you get somebody's got to tell you that you're being a little bitch.
Yeah, because look at, we get caught up in our own world, our way of thinking, our habitual way of doing things. And like, dude, there's so much more than we can achieve in life if we push ourselves. And we need to be around individuals that are going to hold us accountable to that. It's so important. We all do. We all need that. But what did you do that day? You did the cold plunge. You did something, right? Like,
I did the cold plunge, and then I got my ass up and I waddled to the gym.
Yeah. And
it
so
was a stair climber day. That definitely wasn't going to happen. Not for 30 minutes. But I definitely got my whole workout in. So, and I felt better afterwards. I felt accomplished, right? I was glad I did it. How many times you guys don't want to go do something, but after you're done or once you're inside of doing it, it's like, man, I'm glad I actually did that. I'm glad that little bit of bitch went away for today.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too, because that's really one thing that changed my life is doing things every day that genuinely make me proud of who I am. Like when I got incarcerated, I didn't have a track record of success. I wasn't doing things that made me proud of myself. I started to in jail. I started to do a bunch of push-ups every day, read books, really apply myself to improving. And I started going to sleep each and every night with a feeling of gratitude on my heart. I couldn't believe it, man. I felt this huge shift take place inside of me over time by doing things every day that genuinely made me proud of myself. And it's something I still focus on to this day. I mean, if I'm at the gym and it's leg day and I'm doing hack squats, which are really demanding, and I do 2 really hard sets and like I'm gassed and I'm thinking about going to another machine. And in my head, I'm negotiating, right? I'm like, oh, I'll just go do this machine, that machine. That'll be good. And I always stop myself and go, what would you be more proud of later on when you reflect on this day? The fact that you did 2 sets or if you did 3? And whatever answer I feel, that intuition, I act upon it. If you guys listening and Eugene can go through your days with that awareness, everything you do, the way you talk to your wife, the time that you get up, the way you show up for team members in your business, the food that you eat, the way you use your phone, the way you train in the gym, if everything that you do, you focus on, will this make me proud of myself at the end of the night? The way I'm doing this, will I look back and be genuinely proud of how I did this thing? And you can start to act accordingly. Your whole life will transform for the better over time.
I love that, man. Hey, if you could, you've seen School of Hard Knocks. Have you seen that guy?
Yeah.
So, if you and I were going to die today and you had one thing left to leave to the younger generation, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh man, to anyone in general, like we're all going to die. We're on borrowed time, they say, right? You don't know when your time's going to come. Like it sounds cliche, man, but you got to freaking max out this life. Like if you can get to a place where you know what you want, why it's important to you, go after it with everything that you got. Like you'll live the most incredible life if you're willing to just go all in. And the main thing is you're going to have to face fear and doubt every day. Every day, whatever those fearful thoughts are, whatever that doubt is inside of you, you have to face it head on and just obliterate it, right? With positive action. But honestly, one thing, Gene, if I could, I would tell people what I just shared with you a second ago. The secret to success is doing things every day that genuinely make you proud of yourself. I'm not talking about happy, like where, I ate a freaking Big Mac or, not pleasure, like genuinely in your heart, proud of who you are. Man, I leg pressed more weight than I ever have in my life. Man, I dialed all these numbers all day long. I closed 5 deals today. Like whatever it is, I spent time with my family where I wasn't on my phone. Do things every day that make you proud of who you are, and you will have so much success in your life.
It's freaking awesome, man. Guys, go to unstoppable365.com. and check out Sean. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on Facebook. He's friends of mine. If you can't find him, go to my friends list. Search Sean Michael Crane, and you will find him. Also, I've worked with this man now for about 6 months. I can tell you he is legit. If you need a shift, if you need a breakthrough in your life, if you need somebody who will help to hold you accountable to becoming that 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 version of yourself, Sean's the guy. Reach out to him. The mastermind, again, is going to be a smaller mastermind. So you're going to get intimate one-on-one attention from Sean and be able to spend time with him. That is July 31st through August 2nd. If you are interested in that, comment below mastermind or comment I'm in, one of those two, and we'll tag you, Sean, and I'll have my people make sure that anything that comes through on this, we help to facilitate it getting to you. Anything else that you'd like to say, Sean, before we wrap this bad boy up?
No, I appreciate the shout out, man. I mean, look, at 23 years old, I was facing life in prison. I did 5.5 years in prison for something I didn't do. I rebuilt my whole life. I got sober. I've been sober 14 years, overcame all of that adversity, got out, right? Started to rebuild my life. And today I'm sitting here with everything that I envisioned and prayed for all those years. I know how to get results. I know how to change the way people think so that they can get on a trajectory to create the life that they truly want. So if you're a man who feels stuck in any capacity, you're living as a shadow of the person you want to be, and there's more for you out there, dude, get to this mastermind in Santa Barbara. The in-person events are so impactful. I'm going to pour into my guys for 2 full days. We're going to have fun. We're going to set goals. We're going to crush goals in the present moment, and you'll leave there a renewed version of yourself. I guarantee it.
It's a beautiful thing, Sean. I appreciate you coming on the Black Belt Sales Podcast today. Guys, if you have not given the Black Belt Sales Podcast a review yet, just scroll on over there to Apple Podcasts or to Spotify, click those 5 stars and tell us why you love us. And we'll continue to bring you more people, guest speakers, professionals, experts, just like Sean. Sean, have a great day. We'll talk with you guys soon. See you, ninjas.